Right. It's Lambo's Water Sports featuring the Big Buddy featuring Sideline Sports Network. Um, okay, week 7 preview. Not only that, the reason why I did that is because of the trade deadlines. Possible trades. I know there's a lot of trades possibly going on with the Denver Broncos. They could possibly be releasing some guys. I'm not sure. But before the other trade deadlines, I want to start with Saquon Barkley and the Giants. The Giants are an awful football organization. They made the wrong move. They hadn't been good since Eli Manning. Even when Eli Manning, after he won the second Super Bowl, they hadn't made the playoffs but since last year, before last year. They ain't made the playoffs since 2016. So they made the playoffs, twice in 5 years between 2016 and 2021 or 22, 6 years, whatever. Giants are a horrible football organization. They said Daniel Jones was the guy. Vanilla Ice. You paid that man $92 million guaranteed to look like ass and eat like ass, all right? He is the main problem, all right? Why did you pay that man over Saquon Barkley? Saquon Barkley is the heart and soul and franchise of the New York Giants. I know he said that he does not want to get traded, but sources are lying. The people, the GM, he is lying. Whoever, they're lying. Saquon Barkley will get traded. Now, I don't know if it'll be this year. It'll be next year. They only extended his contract 1 year with some incentives. It's not good. I think the New York Giants trade him. I don't know where they trade him to. Who wants Saquon Barkley? That depends on the draft, how many number of draft picks, contract numbers, all this stuff. I think Saquon Barkley gets traded from the Giants at some point next year. And they made a big mistake.
Well, he's a free agent. He's a free agent after this year.
Well, my apologies. My apologies. I think they would trade him probably before the trade deadline. If things don't go right, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, he's been super vocal about not wanting to be traded. And I think if they do trade him, they turn into a seller, unless they trade him for some big name, which I don't see happening because the team they would be trading him to is basically getting a running back because he'll hit the free agency market unless the team he's going to would be. So I would assume for him to be traded, the team that would be lined up, I can't imagine he would want to go in with uncertainty. So if they did somehow line up a trade, I could see it being a trade and sign, like you sign the extension immediately upon coming to or sign and trade. Excuse me, stupid. But I do think that him being so vocal about not wanting to leave turns me off a little bit on that. I still think Kirk could move this year for the Vikings. That's someone I don't know. I've seen people report two different things about him moving, whether or not he would want to learn a new playbook, which is a good point. He could just ride it out in Minnesota. He has a no trade clause in his contract, so it would be his complete decision whether or not he wants to waive that clause to get traded to another team that I would assume would do the same thing, sign and trade. So I don't know. I don't even know what team would really want to trade for. Maybe Atlanta would trade for Kirk. But I mean, there's plenty of teams I'm sure that could use his services, but teams that he would want to go to in this stage of his career, trying to win, it's pretty limited, I think. So that's what turns me off about the Kirk thing. But you could also imagine the player we just talked about, Danielle Hunter. Danielle Hunter is a great rusher on that Vikings defense, and he's getting up there in age. I think he'll be a free agent in either next year or the year after. So it would make sense to trade him because he is going to probably demand a large sum of money considering what, the tier of player he is. And if, Kirk's gone after this year, I can't imagine that they don't start selling off their high-end pieces. And he would definitely be one. Do you have any other guys that you were interested in seeing?
This might shock some of y'all. This might really shock some of y'all. The Titans quarterback situation, they're not going to trade Ryan Tannehill, but I think they messed up on the DeAndre Hopkins signing because you don't have a consistent quarterback that can throw the ball to him. Ryan Tannehill is done. I believe that if DeAndre Hopkins gets traded before the deadline, he gets traded to the Kansas City Chiefs for a second-round pick. That could be possible. Pat Mahomes and DeAndre Hopkins had a chance to win the Super Bowl ring, at least compete for the playoffs. I mean, when did the last time they been to the playoffs with the Houston Texans a couple years ago with Deshaun Watson? And we thought he was going to sign to the Patriots, but no, the Patriots always find ways to mess up signings like DeAndre Hopkins. But, I mean, luckily he didn't play with Matt Jones. Second of all, you mentioned the Titans' defense is what, pass suspect as well? You have mentioned that?
Yeah, their secondary is garbage.
All right, so I'm thinking Kevin Byard, all right? I'm thinking Mike Vrabel transfers the defense a little bit, maybe put some younger guys in the secondary even though they suck. Get rid of Kevin Byard, trade him to the Eagles for a 2024 or 2025 fifth-round pick. Eagles, yeah, fifth. I'm just guessing. Fifth-round pick. The Eagles need more of the secondary. It can't just be Darius Slay, so they need some more veteran experience. He's a veteran, but obviously he's not the same player. The Washington Commanders could use a trade as well. I'm not sure. Now I might be talking my ass off about this, but if the Commanders don't start winning, don't be surprised if they trade Chase Young.
Yeah,
don't be surprised.
I'm with that
Don't be surprised if they trade him to the Ravens for a second-round pick in 2024 and maybe a conditional fourth-round pick in 2025. Do not be surprised if the Ravens want to step up their game and give away some draft picks for a young guy in Chase Young who is still coming off an injury from this past season. I understand he hasn't shown a lot of production, but Washington is trying to win now, and their defense of scheme with Jack Del Rio is just getting older. I don't understand the concepts of it, and it's just I'm not sure. More. I'm sorry, I got more. The Panthers suck. They're 0-6. Get rid of Brian Burns in a trade. Yeah. All right, so you can get some more draft picks. All right, give him to the Rams. The Rams need somebody. Bobby Wagner, I think, is on a one-year contract. So give him to the Rams for a 2024 second-round pick.
Bobby Wagner went back to the Seahawks.
Sorry. Seahawks. I apologize. I'm sorry. Well, the Rams need a linebacker in general. I apologize. I thought he was still in the Rams. But the Rams need a good linebacker in general. I'm not sure who their great starting linebacker is. They need a linebacker in general. So Brian Burns, I'll give him to, the Rams. And one more player that I would shock to, Jerry Jeudy. Now, after what Stephen Smith Sr. did to him, Jerry Jeudy would not fit the Sean Payton offense, obviously. Now, I don't agree with trading him to the Panthers. I think Jerry Jeudy could be in a possible trade with the Dallas Cowboys. I think the Dallas Cowboys could use a Jerry Jeudy. Imagine Jerry Jeudy. Imagine CeeDee Lamb on one side of the field, and maybe you trade him for maybe a second, third-round pick. But, yes, that is my prediction.
If the Dallas Cowboys trade a second or third-round pick for Jerry Jeudy, I will be so pissed off. We traded Amari Cooper for a fifth. So if we go for Jerry Jeudy with a second or third, I would lose so much faith in what our front office is doing. And I think our front office has built one of the best rosters in the league. So if they go out and pull out a trade like that, I would be very pissed off. I'm with you on Jeudy.
I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just predicting what the hell they might do. I'm not saying it's going to fucking happen.
Yeah.
I'm just predicting.
I think Jeudy needs to go somewhere where he'll be a wide receiver too. I don't think he's a one, and that's fine. Like, not everybody's a one.
Well, that's why I said the Cowboys, because, CD.
No, I agree. I just don't think. Well, you got to look at what the Cowboys have. We have Gallup on like.
Oh, you got Brandon Cooks, and you still got what Gallup
and stuff. Yeah, and Gallup. So like, if we trade anybody, I wouldn't be upset if we traded Gallup just because he's so expensive for like no production, basically. And I get it. Trust me, when it comes to defending Michael Gallup, I've been doing it because he had a 1,000-yard season, and it was like, wow, this guy is a dog. And then he tore his ACL, and he hasn't been the same since. That's fine, but this year he was supposed to be 100%, and we're still giving him 13, 14 million a year. I know it's not going to happen, but this is just me as a Cowboys. It's not going to happen, but as a Cowboys fan, and I love Michael Gallup, but I really wouldn't mind moving him just to get – because, like, Dak's contract is going to catch up eventually. We can't have receivers on this team that are giving us 20 yards a game, eating up 14 million in cap space. It just can't happen. We need – like, I mean, you wouldn't get more than a fifth for him anyway. So, like, that's why I don't think it'll really happen this year at least. On the Broncos, though, dude, Cortland Sutton could also be gone. I don't think they'll trade both of their 1 and 2 wide receivers, but one of the two could definitely be gone. And I think it's obviously more realistic that it's Jerry Jeudy, considering what's been going on in that building. I don't know if you saw his press conference the other day. He basically threw everybody on the team under the bus. He was like, as a wide receiver, you deal with a lot of stuff, man. Like if the O-line messes up, if the quarterback messes up, if the running back misses a run protection or a pass protection, blah, blah, blah. He said all those things about his own team, and that's why he's not being successful. He was like, yeah, man, go watch the tape. You know what I do. Dude, I'm going to trust Steve Smith's evaluation. If he thinks that you're just a guy, me watching the tape isn't going to change my opinion. I don't think. Steve Smith went in on this dude, and I'm not going to be the guy that says he's wrong. So Jerry Jeudy, see you later. I don't think he's there. Hunter Renfrow has been a name that's popped up a lot as well. And Devontae, his recent
Devontae Adams, because Josh McDaniels with Josh McDaniels is trying to instill the Tom Brady Patriots system where there's no number 1 or number 2 receiver. Everybody just gets the ball. This is how it is. Everybody gets the targets, but it's barely working. They barely beat the Patriots. They barely beat the Packers. And I mean, I understand our defense. Devontae Smith was locked down, but I mean, Jacoby Myers has been like basically their wide receiver 1 for the Raiders. But, I mean, Hunter Renfrow, that would be a nice trade, but it'll be kind of stupid, especially when you're not giving the Devontae Adams the ball and Josh Jacobs is not giving you the same production he once was.
Yeah,
it's just.
Yeah, I hear you there. I don't know. Like, it's on Jimmy G's shoulders, I think, more than it has been said it is. Like, Josh McDaniels, I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it, but he has been getting a lot of shit for this where, he's not the one throwing the ball. Now, obviously, he's the one that's game planning. He's the
calling the plays.
Exactly. He's the offensive mind. So I understand why he's getting criticism. It's deservedly so, but I do think more needs to be put onto Jimmy G because he's the one throwing the ball. And I get it. He got hurt. Hoyer came in, whatever. But it's not like just a last week thing. It's been an entire year of this, and that's why Devontae's speaking out now because he's pissed. And I think Jimmy G isn't
How many quarterbacks has Devontae Adams been through since last year? Derek Carr, Jarrett Stidham, somebody else last year, and now it's Jimmy G, Brian Hoyer, and then there's another. He been through 6 quarterbacks in like not even a whole year.
Yeah, and then doing that after coming from one of the most talented, one of the best quarterbacks ever in Green Bay to then going to Vegas and having all this shit happening. Like, I'm sure this is just the exact opposite of what he expected, but I don't know if he gets moved. That's why I think the Renfrow move makes a little bit more sense because I understand the return you would get, but I feel like the Raiders are in such an in-between spot right now when it comes to like they're not rebuilding. Because if they were rebuilding, they wouldn't have gone and paid Devontae the amount of money that they paid him.
And Jimmy G.
Same
And
with
they
Jimmy
paid
G.
Jimmy. And he's
Yeah.
fucking hurt all the time. That's
Yeah.
why the 49ers moved on from him. He's always hurt.
He didn't pass a physical before he even stepped in the Raiders building. He was hurt when he got there. So that's another issue as well. And then obviously like Josh Jacobs was the best running back in the league last year. And
he didn't show up to training camp.
Dude, and then you look at the defense, and obviously there's the whole Chandler Jones situation going on. So, like, you can't blame that on anybody because that's just unfortunate for all parties involved, obviously. But, like, they've got guys, and nothing's happening.
They're not doing nothing. They have the team.
Exactly. So, it's like they have to make a decision pretty soon, I think, on whether or not they're going to be a buyer or a seller. And if they do get rid of Hunter Renfrow, I think it kind of, I don't know. I mean, it takes an element away from the offense for sure, but it's not like he's out there like blowing the doors off of anything with his explosiveness and stuff. But he's a serviceable wide receiver 3. I think he can, go make an impact somewhere else. The Raiders, though, they got to make some adjustments outside of just the wide receiver room because they're a mess.
Don't be surprised. It may not happen next 11 days, but sometime next year, don't be surprised if Davante Adams requested a trade and wants to play with Aaron Rodgers with the Jets next season. Do not be surprised if that shit happens. Davante Adams with the Jets.
And Garrett Wilson,
Allen Lazard, Davante Adams, and who else you said they had?
Breece Hall.
Running
back. Dude, with that defense, you would have to move. I think you would have to move on from. Oh, I don't know who's getting.
The Jets just got rid of McCole Hardman. He went to the Chiefs.
I saw that. That's good. I think, dude, that is actually a really good idea. I don't think it'll happen, but that's a really good idea with Devontae. The issue
I don't know if it will happen for the next 11 days.
I don't
think it will happen next year.
You think so?
Next year, but not in the next 11 days. I'd be shocked if it happened the next 11 days.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah.
Next year, it will happen. He bounces off his contract. Davante Adams says, I want to play with Aaron Rodgers with the Jets. Now, I know Derek Carr is this guy. I don't see him going to the Saints. The Saints might get a new head coach next year. But Davante Adams.
For the Jets, they can invest in O-line in the draft. They're not.
Yes.
Aaron's not going to play. Obviously, like the whatever it was in the trade deal, that was like if he played above what was it like 70%,
60% of the snaps.
60% of the snaps.
Green Bay didn't even get the picks because he's not playing 60% of the snaps. So Green Bay didn't get the picks.
Exactly, that's what I mean. So the Jets now have more capital to invest in that O-line and do it cheaply. Hopefully that is the way it works out because if not, I don't know if they can afford bringing in a good O-line, anybody good on the O-line. The O-linemen are so expensive. So like bringing them in and then also bringing in that Devontae contract would be a little wild, but I like the idea for sure.
All right. So a lot of trade stuff going on. We're getting into these games. Next, the Browns versus the Colts. Deshaun Watson will not be playing this weekend. All right. Gardner Minshew is stepping up to the plate. Now they got smacked by Jacksonville, but I'm going to go ahead. Take the Colts over the Browns. They're at home. I think they'll bounce back. Now the Browns defense is tackling number 1 in the league as far as total defense. They're number 1 in the league in total defense. But it comes down to P.J. Walker. He did all right against the 49ers. He did just enough, but he's not really accurate and all that. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Colts. Zach Moss is playing tremendous without Jonathan Taylor. I mean, he's played a little bit, but Zach Moss has been gaining most of the production when Jonathan Taylor was gone. Michael Pittman's kind of doing his thing. I'm going to take Gardner Minshew. I trust the Colts will win this game.
Yeah, super unfortunate that Gardner wanted to play the worst game of his career after I just hyped him up so much the week leading up to that. So Appreciate that, Gardner, making me look real smart out here. But I'm going to go with the Browns in this game, and it's not because Gardner had a bad game last week. I still think that he's a starting caliber quarterback in the league. Last week was legitimately the worst game he's ever had in the NFL, which, of course, happened after I was hyping him up so much and picked the Colts to win. So that clearly didn't happen. But in this game, I think with the Browns, and I understand PJ's not very accurate, but when he came in for the Panthers in years past, he played very well. And then, like, he can sling the ball. I don't think he's a great quarterback by any means. That's why he's signed to teams when they need an emergency quarterback. In this case, though, the Colts offense going against the Browns defense, I don't know if I trust, especially in the run. They rely a lot on the run game to open up the pass game. And when it comes to the Browns running defense, there's really no one better in the league. So, like, I get it. Zach Moss has played great. JT is ramping up his usage, and things are looking up for that offense. I just don't think that it's this week that things click. I think the defense they're playing is just a little bit too good, and the offense for the Browns, I think they managed the Niners defense. I think that they'll be able to manage the Colts.
All right, the Bills versus the Patriots. If you're betting this game, please bet the under because the offense sucks ass. I am done with Mac Jones, especially what he did last week. Now it looks like he'll probably be starting because Zappy, Malik Cunningham were only using for about 2 plays last week. The Bills do seek to win 5 straight. According to ESPN, the Patriots only have 17% chance of winning. I'm still going with my Patriots. I'm confident because the Bills' offense has really struggled the last 3 weeks. I mean, they scored 14 against the Bills. They barely scored 18 against Jacksonville. And I know they rolled all over us the past 3 seasons, but as much confidence as I have with Mac Jones, I really don't. This is Mac Jones' total fault. I'm not blaming Bill O'Brien because he has to clean up the Patricia and Joe Judge mess from 2 seasons ago. He has to clean that up. So this is Mac Jones, make it or break it. This is your last chance. If not, I'm calling out for your job, and I want Bailey Zappi for the rest of the season. I'm still going to take my Patriots, but Mac Jones, you are trash, and I don't think Bill Belichick's job is on the line. I know a lot of people say, his job's on the line. As a GM, his job is on the line. It's very hard for me that Robert Kraft wants to fire him. There's discussions that he might get fired, but until actions show that he gets fired, then I will believe it when I once believe it. It's at home. The Patriots have dropped, 3 straight games since the Dallas Cowboys game. At least we put up 17 points on offense, but when you're missing key guys, Hunter Henry was hurt. I don't know what to say. There's no more explanations left from the Patriots. I don't know why I want to watch this game on Sunday because I guess it's NFL football and it's my job on Lambo's Board of Sports, Total Pole Nation, to actually watch this game where I really don't want to watch it. But I'm confident in the defense, but we don't have Matt Judon. We don't have Christian Gonzalez. I'm still around with my Patriots, but you'll probably be right. But Matt Jones is your last chance. You fucking suck. I'm done. And I was mad at you when you took a safety last week, too.
Well, glad you got that out. I know it's frustrating, dude. I've been through some bad seasons myself. The reason I don't have too much sympathy or empathy for you here is because you are a Patriots fan, and while I was struggling for all those years, you obviously weren't. So
struggling? What you struggling? You were struggling
with playoff losses, with players.
Well, I mean, at least I made the playoffs. I mean, come on now.
Oh, we consistently make the playoffs 2 out of 3 years. Like, it'll be 2 years in, 1 year out, 2 years in, 1 year out, and a lot of it comes behind injury as to why we don't. Like, we consistently have good teams post Jason Garrett, and then even there were a mix of some good teams in there with Jason Garrett, but obviously 2 playoff losses to Aaron Rodgers and all that shit. So Whatever. When it comes to this game, I don't have too much faith in the Patriots, really. I understand the Bills' defense isn't the same without Tre'Davious White. It's not the same without Matt Milano at linebacker. But Von Miller's ramping up. Poyer's still healthy. I just think that there's a little bit too much here for the Patriots to overcome with their defensive losses as well. You mentioned it, Judon and Gonzalez. There's big play opportunity over the top with Gabe Davis, and then you have one of the best route runners in the league in Stephon Diggs.
J.C. Jackson will be on that shit. He'll be on, just like he locked out the
You were just talking shit about J.C. Jackson 3 weeks ago when he was still on the Chargers, saying that he hadn't done shit, and he still hasn't.
You see what he did that idea, but you not see what he did against the Patriots. He shouldn't have Devontae Adams. Devontae got nothing on him. He got nothing on him. He didn't fit the Chargers system. I don't know why he didn't fit that system. The Chargers don't play press man. They play fucking zone. It's all about system. You've been saying it's all about system. Yeah. J.C. Jackson fits perfectly with the Patriots defense that plays press man. The Chargers don't play no fucking press man unless they fucking have to.
Well, no, the Chargers played press man against the Dolphins and got exposed. Remember, that was the issue. That's why they got exposed, was because the Chargers were trying to press and they pressed.
Well, I'm talking about as in general. In general, they're not a press man team. Like in general, like your number one go-to is not press man.
The number one go-to I gotta watch some film on that, because I think that it was more like him and the coaches and stuff weren't, because he was healthy scratch. He would even when he was healthy enough to play, there were games where he just was a healthy scratch because they didn't want him on the field, or he didn't want, whatever the situation was internally.
That's their fucking fault.
I understand, but it could also be something to do with him as well, you know? So I get it. He is good. He is good. He is a very
he was shut down. Now, I don't think he would completely shut down, but the Stephon Diggs is not Devontae Adams. I think Devontae Adams is a little bit better than Stephon Diggs.
I agree.
You know, with the absence of Christian Gonzalez, he gonna shut that shit down. It depends what the other corner's gonna do. That's what it depends.
Right, but do you think he'll follow Steph the entire game? Because a lot of defensive coordinators just keep it on one side, and wherever the side of the one is, they'll put more help over there.
It depends.
Super, like, you have a safety, but you don't have a lot of help.
We have Jalen Mills at safety, I think, or he plays corner, or one of the two. He plays both, but it depends. To answer your question, when he traveled, it depends on what quarter it is. Sometimes he'll travel, sometimes he won't. I don't think he'll travel the whole way, but I think I'll give him 80% he'll travel. 80%. Not the whole way. 80% he'll travel with Stephon Diggs.
He's going to need to. He's going to need to, because, Davis is good, but he's a little inconsistent. But he has been scoring.
I think Davis is something we need to watch out for, because last year they don't have an Isaiah McKinney who's with the Colts, I think. So they don't have that. Isaiah McKinney was fucking us the last 2 seasons. It was Isaiah McKinney giving us problems. I have a feeling once we, not shut down or shut off, but once we concern Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis might be a problem, going forward, or maybe their new tight end might get some catches, because what happened in the Raiders game, I guess their tight end, number 87, whoever, I can't remember his name, he had the first 4 catches in the fucking game. So Bill Belichick's defense is to give you the third option, so the third option might be a surprise in the first quarter. So I would say on that. Next game, the Commanders versus the Giants. There's not too much to talk about. Now, I want Tyrod Taylor to start for the rest of the season because he has bad luck. Daniel Jones, I think, might still be out with a neck injury. I'm not sure if he's going to play. But if you have a better chance to win, if you're the Giants, stick with Tyrod Taylor. Now, I understand Tyrod Taylor hasn't really started a game, and Lord knows when. He's been everywhere. But if I'm the Giants and I want to save my season, Tyrod Taylor can help you maybe win games, or maybe get you close to the playoff, depending on what these other teams do, like if they collapse or something. I'm not saying the Giants are going to go to the playoffs. I'm just saying whatever circumstances happens, he'll give you a better chance of winning instead of Daniel Jones. I think the Giants could move on Daniel Jones next season, or I don't know because his contract is too big. They got to figure that out. I'm gonna take the Commanders. Now I know their offense is still a little struggle, but their defense had 3 turnovers against the Atlanta Falcons, and the Giants are worse than the Atlanta Falcons. So Commanders win this game on the road, and I'm very confident in Eric Bieniemy to do some big things. I'm taking the Commanders.
Yeah, I'm rolling with you there. I don't. So Daniel Jones has been limited all week in practice. He's still questionable. The coach said there's a chance, but he hasn't locked anything in. So it's completely up in the air. I think regardless if he plays or not, like I love Tyrod, but I don't know if he's a difference maker when it comes to the complete like whole of the team. I think they've just got too much shit out of whack. Like they brought in Isaiah Simmons on defense. They have good pieces on defense, and it's just not worth. Like that defense, the second half of the year last year was one of the best in the league. That's part of the reason. That's the main reason they made that playoff push last year. And they really haven't shown up. And then, I mean, they allowed 28 points to the damn Cardinals, who I get it. So did Dallas, and we lost. I understand, but this isn't about the Cowboys. You can go look at their resume this year and compare it to this Giants one. The Giants are letting everyone score. And in this case, I just don't see it changing. I think, Sam Howell, while he is turning the ball over and the offense is struggling a little bit, I'm pretty sure he's still top 10 in the league in completion percentage, yards, and touchdowns right now. So while he is turning the ball over, like you would expect a rookie quarterback to do, given that this is his 8th start in the league or whatever, I think you expect him to go through some growing pains. And I think this week is going to be one of the highlights of his season and not one of the lowlights. So I'm rolling with the Commanders too.
All right, next game to watch for is a 1:00 game as well. Detroit Lions versus the Baltimore Ravens. Now, the Detroit Lions had bad luck with the Ravens. I think last year or 2 seasons ago, when Justin Tucker kicked a 66-yard field goal inside their stadium, because Justin Tucker is one of the best kickers in the league. By the way, if you do fantasy on Sleeper or whatever, and you need your kicker, most people are stupid and do not pick Justin Tucker as their kicker. I do, and he's been one of the best. Now, the Lions are 5-1. The Ravens are 4-2. The Lions are one of the best teams right now in the NFC, along with the 49ers and the Eagles. I did say Ravens, but I think this is the Lions' chance. The Lions will beat the Ravens at home. Their offense with Jared Goff, he's improved. He's resurrected his career. Amari St. Brown, you got Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery. Dan Campbell is going to bring the fire and the energy. They're going to be physical on the line of scrimmage. The Lions' offensive line has continued to get better. I understand the Ravens have a good defense, but the reason why the Ravens lose games is because of Lamar Jackson's turnovers. If Lamar Jackson turns the ball over against the Lions defense, I understand the Lions defense isn't like the Patriots defense or the Cowboys defense, but the Lions defense this year is better than what it was last year and a couple years ago. They're top 10 in total defense, so don't be surprised. I'm going to go ahead and take the Lions upset at the Ravens home stadium. I think the Lions will create pressure on Lamar Jackson, and Ravens still have some kind of tweaks on the offensive line as well. Going with the Lions.
I'm going with the Ravens. I hear you about the pressure, and I agree. I think it will come, but there is not a better quarterback in the league at escaping pressure and out of making something out of nothing with his legs. We obviously saw Justin Fields have his flash of it last year, but consistently, this is the best quarterback on the ground by far in the league, and it has been since he's come into the league. And I think this week, the Lions have a really good run defense. The secondary has been, not that there is a weak point because this is a top 10 defense as of right now in the NFL. But I do think that the Ravens, I feel like the Ravens never have good numbers on offense, minus Lamar's MVP year. But every year outside of his MVP year, he has still gotten this team to the playoffs when he has been healthy and played, regardless of what the offensive numbers look like. And we both expected higher offensive numbers this year with the new OC from Georgia. That hasn't exactly happened yet, but I do think that the Ravens, there's just something about this team at home, and then Lamar against pressure on the outside, I can just see it already. The pocket collapses on the outside. There's a gap to run up the middle, and he takes it for 40. And I feel like he does that multiple times a year. And in a game like this, where the edge rushers of the Lions, more importantly Hutchinson, are going to be a major issue, I think I trust Lamar getting out of those issues that they create. So give me the Ravens.
All right. Raiders versus the Bears. Oh, this is not a game you want to watch because Justin Fields is not playing. He's out with their head. They got Tyler Badgett as the starting quarterback. And the Raiders, with Jimmy G out, they have to make a decision whether it's going to be another quarterback or it's going to have to be Brian Hoyer. So I will pick the Raiders to win this game. I don't think Tyler Badgett will be a better quarterback than Brian Hoyer. This game is at home for the Bears. This could be a toss-up. I was going to go ahead and pick the Raiders. Both quarterbacks are out. It could go either way. This will be a very, very, very low-scoring game. But I trust the Raiders' defense over the Bears' defense. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the Raiders.
Yeah, I'm going with them too. I actually have no idea who this quarterback is, where he is from. He is an undrafted free agent quarterback that was a D2 product. So not shitting on D2 at all, because there have been a couple guys, but not. Oh, here it is. From D2 to NFL starting quarterback. Shepherd University, Tyson Bagnet will join 3 other quarterbacks from the past 20 years that have gone from D2 to the NFL, the only notable one being John Kitna, who last started a game in 2010. So, not saying that this guy doesn't have a chance to be successful, but history is not on his side at all. And in this case, I don't see him coming out with a win. This is without a doubt the last game I think anybody should watch this weekend, unless you are a diehard Bears or Raiders fan. But if you're not, don't waste your time watching this game. It's going to suck. And if it doesn't, great. I'll happily be wrong about that. But there's nothing about this game that's appealing at all. The Bears, I have DJ Moore in one of my fantasy leagues, and it's just sad. It's so sad because I know, I don't really have anybody to start over him, but he's got no shade on Tyson, but a D2 quarterback throwing to him. It's just not, it's not going to be a good week offensively for the Bears. And I definitely trust the Raiders defense to handle that Bears offense.
Right, Falcons versus the Buccaneers. The Bucs came off a home loss against the Lions. The Falcons came off a loss against the Commanders. I know you picked the Falcons in a couple of upsets. I'm going to take the Bucs. I trust Baker Mayfield over Desmond Ridder. Desmond Ridder was a third-round pick for Cincinnati. I know we hyped him up in college, but I don't think he's the quarterback going forward with his turnovers. And I think the Bucs defense, the Falcons defense is all right, but the Bucs defense is just better. I know they only held the Lions to maybe 20 points, which is not bad, but I think Baker and the offense will concede and they will come back. They'll win at home against the Falcons. It's an NFC South divisional game, but I don't have any confidence in Desmond Ridder.
Yeah, well, I think that's the better way to put it, because defensively, the Falcons are definitely a better team than the Bucs as a whole. They only allow 180 passing yards and they allow under 100 running yards, whereas the Bucs defense is allowing 250 yards in the air and they are only allowing 83 on the ground, so that'll be definitely helpful. With Bijan coming up, I'm just completely 50-50 in this game, and I know I've been burned like twice this year by it already. Give me the Falcons, dude. I don't know. I just trust the defense to be able to do enough against the Bucs. Now, that's not saying that Mike Evans isn't going to have some big catch and that Baker's not going to play well. I just think that their secondary allowing 250 a game is big when you look at what Desmond now he has thrown ugly interceptions. I'm not excusing that at all. But he's also thrown for over 300 the past 2 games. So and I think that was like his 11th start or something in the league. So he's essentially still a rookie as well in my mind. And I think he's going to get better. They're getting Cordell Patterson back, if not this week, then next week. So the offense is just going to expand more. Kyle Pitts is scoring touchdowns out of nowhere. We obviously haven't seen that since he's gotten drafted. He's been one of the most talented players that's been wasted, I think, so far in his career. So the way that the offense is looking, the direction it seems that they're going, plus the statistical backing from their defense, I've been burned by it twice already. But give me the Falcons. Give me the Falcons.
It's called "Don't Bite the Hand That Feeds You." All right, the Steelers versus the Rams. Steelers coming off a bye week. The Rams are coming off a win against the Cardinals, obviously. Aaron Donald's hometown is Pittsburgh, but he wants to beat the Steelers. The Rams are at home. I'm not confident in Matt Canada. He needs to be fired already. I don't know how he's not fired, but the Steelers have a winning record at 3-2, which is not surprising because, Mike Tomlin's not going to have a losing record. I'm going to go ahead and take the Rams to win this game. I think Aaron Donald and the defensive line will bring pressure to the Steelers' O-line. The Steelers, they have a great wide receiver core, but it's going to come down to play calling. And I trust Matthew Stafford over Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett is ass, and his job could be on the line going forward this season. I'm not sure if he'll be the starter for Pittsburgh next year.
Yeah. And it sucks because I'm going to bring up fantasy again here. I'm in a super flex league, which means you can play 2 QBs. And my second QB slot was open this weekend because I have Jared Goff, CJ Stroud, and Dak Prescott. Dak and CJ have the same bye week. So I have to start Jared, and I didn't have a second QB. And guess who was one of the only guys available?
Kenny Pickett. So
I am going to take the Rams, but I will be cheering for Kenny Pickett on Sunday. He's been bad. And we got to give him the same amount of time as you give all rookies, I think. Especially with him being drafted as highly as they did draft him. I don't think that they'll move on from him this quickly. I don't think they can really afford to, considering what a first-round pick is going to be paid in today's age. So I think the Rams win because the offense of the Steelers can't do shit. And then where the Steelers defense was one of the best earlier in the year, and they're still statistically – oh, no, they are bad statistically. Puka and Cooper Kupp might go crazy.
I got Puka in the starting lineup.
Puka and Cooper Kupp are going to go absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what happened to this defense, dude. I understand they've had some injuries, but so is every other team. I don't know how this defense went from the heart and soul of the team to a liability almost. And it's not a good look because their offense is definitely a liability as well. So give me the Rams, but I will be cheering a little bit for Kenny Pickett.
Cardinals versus Seahawks. Not really too much to talk about this game. The Cardinals are still fighting. They're not tanking. They're playing hard. Seattle's coming off a loss with Geno Smith's 2 turnovers against Cincinnati Bengals, which I thought they were going to win that game. But informally, I was wrong. I'm gonna go ahead and take the Seahawks to beat the Cardinals. They're at home. They have DK Metcalf. They have Kenneth Walker, Jackson Smith-Njigba. It's a conference game for the NFC West. I mean, divisional game for the NFC West, obviously, but Seahawks are still going to win. I think Arizona will play hard, but Seattle is too overpowerful on the offensive end, and their defense has been improving. They're not the Legion of Boom, but the defense held the Bengals to 17 points. I'm confident in Seattle defense. So I'm going Seattle.
Yeah, I'm rolling with Seattle too, and I'm with you. There's not too much to talk about here. The unfortunate thing with hold on, my computer's spazzing right now. I need a new one of these things, dude. This shit happens every single week. All right, back to what I was saying. The Seahawks, I think, are just a little bit too overpowered. The only thing that makes me nervous is because I said the same thing about Dallas's offense, and then the Cardinals defense was able to shut us down. But I don't know if that's they play hard every week. We've seen them play well, but we've also seen them get blown out. I don't know if they get blown out in this one, but I can definitely see DK, JSN, Tyler Lockett, Kenneth Walker, all these weapons on offense. I can definitely see them getting down early and not being able to come back, but I don't know if it's a blowout.
All right, Packers versus the Broncos. All right, Broncos are the worst team in the NFL probably, and the Packers. I guess Packer fans are very impatient and said we are not sold on Jordan Love. The Broncos are a mess. Russell Wilson is the most overpaid quarterback in the history of the NFL. I'm going to head and take the Green Bay Packers to win this game. The Green Bay Packers, they got dropped 3 straight games. So I'm going to head and take the Packers to win this game. I'm just not confident in the Denver Broncos in general because their defense is last in the league, and I'm surprised Vance Joseph is not fired. But I think Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love will put up a game plan. They'll probably have a field day with the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, most of the reason that I'm trusting the Packers over the Broncos in this one is because they're off a bye week, because Jordan has had LaFleur LaFleur, credit it to Aaron as much as you want. He was still a coach that started his first 3 years 13-3. He knows what he's doing. He's from that tree that came from, the old Washington staff with McVay, McDaniel, obviously him, Sean, and Kyle Shanahan. So he knows what he's doing. And I definitely trust him coming off a bye week against the worst defense in the league. And then you look on the Broncos side, you compare Russ's stats to some of the other QBs in the league. He's been playing well. It's a different Russ from last year when they sucked and they were sucking because he was bad. And now he's playing well and everything else around him is shit. So I have no faith, no confidence in the Broncos. It seems like whatever facet starts to play better, another facet of the game starts to just get worse. And like I mentioned, that's Russ, but also the run game 1 week will look good, but then their defense, can't stop the run or whatever. And the defense has been shit all year. So give me the Packers. I don't really trust Jordan Love that much, but this defense has been god awful. And if you're talking about trades and stuff, I understand they probably won't because it's a piece to build around him being so young, but they could get a wild return for Pat Surtain if they wanted to shop him. I don't think they do just because it's a young piece to build around. But if they were in the field of getting some of those first round picks back that they lost in that Russ deal, I think, they could definitely get a first for Pat if they wanted to trade.
All right. Well, this is it for the week of Lambo's With the Sports, featuring the Big Buddy, featuring Solid Sports Network. Next week we'll be back on Monday. All right, we'll be back on Monday to cover college football and NFL from things that happened over the weekend. Tuesday we'll be covering next week's of college football, which both the brothers will be in a Thursday night game in Blacksburg, which hits just a little bit different, and it's been better than Thursday Night Football ratings. Of course, Wednesday we'll be hitting, the recruiting, and also we'll probably talk about the NBA because the NBA does start next week. So next week we're talking NBA. So we'll probably hit a Monday through Wednesday show, slam a lot of content on you because Thursday and Friday after Tech beats Syracuse, we will not be around or available for any of you good people. It is nothing against y'all, but the way Kyron Jones is playing, the way he's playing against Wake Forest and Pitt, I'm very confident as a Tech fan. We're not losing another game.
Dude, yeah. Yo, it's looking good, brother. The defense is clicking. The offense has found their groove. We might drop one more the rest of this year.
We might lose like Louisville or
Louisville. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
A good team that's beat Notre Dame. But yes, this is it for Lambo Sports. Next week we'll be talking about the NBA because NBA is back, I think, on Thursday or Friday. So we'll have more sports got to talk about. But thank you, Total Pro Nation. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And what you think of this video. Silence Sports Network for giving this platform for the past 6 months and giving the Big Brother this platform for the past 2 months. We will catch you later on Monday. Adios.